Hey there, folks. It's Mark Loftus, senior editor of Post Magazine. I'm at the Post booth at NAB. I'm here with Collin Kennedy. He's based in Texas. He works with the city of Plano doing AV, and he's also an independent filmmaker here checking out some technology that he's going to be probably implementing into his project that he's working on coming up down the road later this year. Collin, welcome to the booth.
Thanks very much, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about what you do for the city and then your independent work as well. Can you?
Okay, sure. With the city of Plano, I run the audiovisual technology part of the business out of a 112,000 square foot facility just north of Dallas. We do everything from multi-camera live production shoots to corporate shows to trade shows just like this one, although not nearly this large.
Right, right. And then you have your own interests where you're doing independent film. Aside from that, you're doing independent film. You told me a little bit about a project, Salt Creek, that you're going to be working on, and I guess it's going to be rolling out or starting production later on this year. Why don't you give us a little bit of a background on where you're at with it, the concept?
Sure. The name of the production company is Palatial Motion Picture Group. We've been in business for about 6 years. We've produced 11 films over those 6 years, most of them short films, although many of those short films we put as much effort into them as we did our feature film, which was called The Fire. We shot that in 2005. We've gotten a lot of good results with our films. Things are getting progressively better. We've been in a lot of film festivals, seen a lot of awards come out of those film festivals, so we're real happy with the way things are going. Our next big project, like you said, is Salt Creek. It's a horror western film that's going to be shot completely on location in Texas. One of the things I'm doing here at the show is looking at some of the new digital acquisition technologies that are available and basically trying to work all that into our budget and our workflow and figuring out, once we capture it on said technology, how are we going to edit that? How are we going to post-produce it? And what are all those things going to cost? And
Can you give us a concept on Salt Creek and also on the technology side? Did you decide that you're gonna acquire digitally? Is it going to be tapeless? Is it going to be tape-based? What will the post-production chain look like? Has that even been set up, or will this technology determine what it's going to look like down the road?
Okay, I guess you want me to start with Salt Creek. Salt Creek is a horror western. It's based in 1881. It's set in 1881. It's the story of two Texas Rangers who are on the trail of grave robbers when they come across a detachment of U.S. cavalry that are the cavalry and the Texas Rangers are heading to the Texas pioneer town of Salt Creek. The cavalry is looking for their evidence in a missing stagecoach that contained an Army payroll strongbox. And when they reach the town of Salt Creek, they discover that the town has been overrun by an evil Castilian sorcerer. And he and his voodoo priest are basically building an army of undead outlaws. Okay. And basically the Texas Rangers, the U.S. Cavalry, and even some of the Castilian sorcerer's family members find themselves in a fight for their lives against this army of undead outlaws.
So it sounds like live action, but there will be visual effects in there. Is it going to be visual effects heavy? How dependent will you be on visual effects?
There are 21 visual effects in the script currently. We've already got quotes from several visual effects houses, both in California and in Texas, to get that work done. And we're pretty confident that we're going to come out with some theatrically beautiful and exciting visual effects. So it won't be a visual effects powerhouse film. There's a lot of traditional action, horse riding, fight sequences, traditional hand-to-hand combat, but as well as there will be some visual effects.
Now, you had told me a little earlier that initially you were considering maybe using the Phantom to shoot this production, but that maybe you've changed your mind, and having looked at some of the technology here, you might go in a different route. What is it looking like right now as far as what the production will be like, how you're going to be acquiring it, how many cameras, if you have that worked out yet?
Okay. Actually, initially we were looking at the Panavision Genesis.
Okay,
Right. And that still may be a possibility. I've got a really great relationship with the people at Panavision in Dallas, and I wouldn't be opposed to working with them. However, here at the show, I've seen a lot of footage from the Arri Alexa, and that's a pretty exciting camera. They're coming out with the Alexa Plus later this year. It's a pretty robust capture format, and it looks like it would definitely deliver the goods as far as image quality and the kind of cinematic look that we really want to get. With a Western, you want those big, beautiful, sweeping vistas. Yes, yeah. Exactly.
And on the editorial side, would you be doing the editorial as part of your production operations? Would you be working with an outside vendor to do editorial? Would you rent space within a facility? And do you have a preference whether it's Avid, Mac, Apple, Final Cut, Premiere, any of the applications? Which are you most familiar with?
Okay. Palatial Motion Picture Group has our own post suite. We've built that over the past several years. It has been an Avid system, but it is now an Adobe system.
Interesting.
And we really enjoyed the 64-bit native application that came out last year. So we've been working with that, and we're excited about that. I don't know that 100% of the post work will be done on our system. We're talking with some other editors in Texas about doing that work. It's going to be a collaborative process between our house and another post house in order to keep the costs down to indie level prices, but at the same time deliver the best quality product, something that has a decent chance of getting a theatrical release.
When I'm working with the magazine and hearing about independent projects and budgets, everybody always questions what a budget is for an independent film. What is low budget? People say that things are low budgets, and then you hear these $1 million, budgets. Can you talk about it, or did you not want to mention, like, this is what we're trying to get done with this, because then you won't get a budget that you need in the future?
Well, in the past, we've shot things on what I consider no budget. Our feature film was 5 figures. It was it was just over $50,000. So that's kind of the budget we've worked with in the past.
So it's a true independent budget.
Salt Creek is a different story altogether. We've basically brought in a lot of the investors that have worked with us in the past are again working with us on Salt Creek. In addition, we've got another investment firm out of California that's interested in basically filling the gap between our first money and actually putting the thing into production. It's quite a bit larger budget than we've ever had the opportunity to work with. Right now, the production side of things is just a hair over $2 million. So it's very exciting. It's not a Hollywood blockbuster budget, but in Texas, where we've got Texas film incentives, and we've got a lot of talented people that aren't union that can work for a decent salary, and they're excited to work on a project of this size. I think we can get it done and make something that's really remarkable and exciting. And keep it under that.
Excellent. Well, we've only got about a minute left. I was hoping maybe you could rattle off any of the gear that you've seen, maybe one piece in particular that caught your attention here at NAB 2011. Okay.
Well, besides the Arri Alexa, I'm excited about the Convergent Design Gemini, which is a 444 recorder that can actually work with the Alexa to do a tapeless capture. And I think that really might be a fantastic way for this particular film to work into our workflow so that we can very accurately get the data and manage all that stuff on set and then deal with it in post and maintain a non-linear workflow all the way through.
Great. Well, we want to thank Collin for coming by the Post booth again. Maybe we can catch up again next year and see where things are at.
I hope so.
Thanks, Collin.
Thank you.